Sport is a great way to keep your body healthy, meet other people, and learn the value of teamwork. Video game sport offers precisely none of those things, so naturally we flock to that instead. From living out a fantasy as a pro athlete to taking the reins of a major franchise, the PC's a wonderful place not to play sport. And here are our 10 favourite ways to sit comfortably and achieve athletic greatness. Do you have a friend who's so passionate about their particular thing, whatever it might be, that you find yourself getting into that thing too? The NBA 2K series is definitely that friend. Who cares if you don't know where the Bucks play? When a game realises a living, breathing world of professional sports this well, you just go with it. 2K19 is a steady evolution of a great series, and its genius is best demonstrated in My Career mode. It's a kind of open-world sports sim meets The Sims thing, in which you create a player and drag them by their redundant compression sleeve to NBA greatness. It even makes playing defense and grabbing rebounds fun, which, when you think about it, is really saying something. What kind of list did you think we were putting together here? Some kind of latte sipping inexplicably into barbershop culture, jeans turned up at the bottom to show off its vintage New Balance shoes list? No, this is about great sports games, and sometimes that means stating the obvious. FIFA does football like Doom does shooting, or Minecraft does slapping cows. The subtlety of its controls allow for all manner of deft touches and hilarious on-pitch mishaps, while the Journey mode does a decent job of turning football into a compelling soap opera. Just be wary of FIFA Ultimate Team if you value things like daylight, money, or human contact. Seriously, what kind of list did you think we were putting together here? One with room for the two warring greats of football gaming, obviously. We'd be remiss not to mention PES after singing FIFA's praises, because at this point in time, the two are so evenly matched that it basically comes down to personal taste. Many say PES has better passing and set-piece controls, and just as many simply can't bring themselves to play as London FC in their unlicensed pyjama kits. Horses for courses, really. Even if the commentary still feels a bit international superstar soccer, the on-pitch experience is impeccable. Compared to all the bells and whistles of FIFA, PES remains pure, stripped back and essential. That's liquid football. Steep is a strange and beautiful game about a talking mountain that seems to genuinely enjoy having people ski, snowboard and wingsuit around on it. And yes, to wingsuit is a verb, because we checked. If you're understandably perturbed by the idea of gratifying a great powdery mountain with your touch, just forget all that sentient stuff and enjoy the closest thing PC gaming's had to the classic SSX games of yore, with an incredible variety of routes and activities. Steep maybe wasn't the genre-shifting title we were expecting from that presentation at E3, but like SSX, the most important thing here is how it feels to play, and luckily, it feels amazing. Time to take a knee now, then tumble ceremonially onto one's front and pay due respect to sports game royalty. That's it, well observed. Royal protocols can seem so old-fashioned these days, can't they? It might seem like an odd choice, but think about it. Ostensibly a game about running the 100-metre sprint for the proud nation of Quop, which also happens to spell the game's only controls, this isn't a sports game like FIFA's a sports game. It's more like watching a man constantly remember and then instantly forget that he has legs. But it's an endeavour of athletic perfection, split-second decision-making and mastery of its controls, which reminds you that sport is only possible thanks to the marvel of our minds, muscles and tendons all working in unison. Plus you can play in a browser, so you're probably already alt-tabbed, haven't you? And who could blame you? Thank goodness you turned up Football Manager 2018, because we were dangerously close to working up a sweat there. Let's cool down, don our implausibly long Arsene Wenger coats and play the beautiful game at a sitting pace. If you're wailing at the screen about this being a management game and that the clue is in the title, we say to you this: yes, you're absolutely right. A management game about football, and football is a sport. No other sports game is this deep. Football Manager gets into the pores of barely even amateur level football and has you agonising over which part-time physio to pay 70 quid a week. Meanwhile, in the background, it's also simulating the entire rest of the world, from Champions League finals to the J-League under-18s matches. Oh, and it lets you build a £500 million squad instantly in fantasy draft mode. Now, you might not have played Rocket League in phys ed unless we went to very different schools, but now in 2018, it is very much a sport. Such a simple one too, just one stadium, 2 goals, a varying number of vehicles of different types, either a ball, a different size ball, or a puck, and some grass, or wooden flooring, or ice. But whichever way you spin it, it still has the same competitive heart as all the other games on this list. Rocket League's skill ceiling always seems to be elevating, and its players just keep getting more nimble and impressive. If FIFA's too mainstream for your rebel heart, here's the organised sport for you. Back to the managerial side of the business now, and a game that genuinely makes tyre changes an interesting, nay nail-biting event. Ladies and gentlemen, Motorsport Manager. Yes, there are full-on racing games if you want to get behind the wheel, but for anyone who's spent a Sunday watching Formula 1 and slowly galvanising the belief that they could do better, this is manna from heaven. Pick your drivers, develop your car, choose a suitably grotesque livery, and watch your race strategy play out in the surprisingly cute Toy Town viewpoint. There are no official licenses here, but in many ways, it's all the better for it, like all those female drivers. Imagine that, eh? Do you still use Fly or Wicked Sick to enthuse about things? Is there, right now, a chain attached to your wallet? There is? Say no more, we found the sports game for you. Ollie Ollie is a 2D rebirthing of the old Tony Hawk skating games, carrying a new school swagger and placing even higher demands on your digits than the old Neversoft titles. Rather than urban exploration, this one's about nailing a specific run over jumps, kickers and rails, and then doing it again and again and again, and point made. Now, if that sounds like a bit of a drag, don't be fooled. It'll grab you for hours with that infectious just one more go factor, and it's very worthy to fill the gloriously swollen vans of Tony Hawks. One of the weird little idiosyncrasies of the games industry is that out-of-the-park baseball frequently tops the Metacritic charts in a given year, but you never hear it mentioned anywhere else. Today is the day that changes. It's basically your chance to be Brad Pitt in Moneyball, chewing gum and sticking it to the old fogies in the baseball establishment who think you need to know what OBP, SLG and home runs are to run a successful Major League Baseball franchise. Unfortunately, there's no Jonah Hill to guide you through all the incredibly in-depth stats, so it turns out you actually do need to know all those things. It also fills the tragic gap left by the single format only MLB The Show, which is obviously incredible but isn't available on PC. And that wraps up our 10 favourite sports games on PC, a list that sadly draws attention to the lack of NHL, NFL and MLB on our preferred platform of choice. Are there any alternatives we could have included? Keep the list growing by sharing your own recommendations in the comments. Or, just carry on playing QWOP like you have been for the last 5 minutes. We see you. Please give this video a like if you spotted any of your favourite sports games, and subscribe to Logitech G for more weekly shows and features.